Welcome back to another Film Geek Movie review. In just a moment, I'm going to be walking my happy butt over to the futon to check out the Netflix original Carry On. And that's Luggage, Not Wayward Son. I wanted to get that across to the audience. Okay, so anyways, folks, this movie tells the story of a young TSA agent who is approached by a mysterious stranger one day, actually Christmas Day, and he's blackmailed into allowing this stranger to put a piece of carry-on luggage onto the flight that, he's just told, don't worry about what's inside it. This looks like it's going to be a very intense suspense little thriller, and it's got a really great cast. This film is starring Taron Egerton, Jason Bateman, and Sophia Carson. So you know what, guys? It is enough of me sitting here jibber-jabbering on. As always, my good old movie partner Haku is waiting for me over at the futon, and we know how impatient he gets. So see you back here in just a bit. It's time for me to go check out Carry On. Just getting done watching Carry On, and guys, while I enjoyed this movie, there's some things I want to talk about. So let's get this started, shall we? Let's get things started with the negatives, then move into the positives to end the video on the ever so important high note. Negative-wise, the first thing I want to talk about is the runtime of this movie. This movie runs at about 2 hours, and to be perfectly honest, for a movie such as this, and for the story, you really don't need this movie to be any longer than an hour and a half. And I know I've been saying that a lot with films, and it's just the way things are right now. It just seems like there's a lot of padding to be thrown onto movies. And I don't know if it's something where Hollywood feels like people want to get more bang for their buck, so make the movies longer, or, what. But it just seems like as of lately, there's been a lot of stuff that just keeps getting added onto movies that make their runtime go way too long. Because this film really drags at the very beginning of it. I mean, at least a good half hour of this film is just build up of getting to where we need to go. You are at least an hour into this film before you start seeing a lot of good action. And I think the unfortunate thing is that this is a streaming film, and if it takes that long to get to where you are, it's a good half hour before the film really starts getting interesting. It's about the second act, and about halfway through the second act, that's when it starts getting a little bit more action-packed. And to be perfectly honest, the second act really should have been where this movie started. Also, this film is silly. It is very over the top and just implausible. Not impossible, just implausible. There are so many just silly, over the top moments in this movie that there is no way it could possibly happen. It just feels like this film tries to be self-aware and silly, but it doesn't want to latch onto it, and it tries to also take itself way too seriously. Basically, I would say this film is a great throwback to the old 90s action thrillers of its time, but because it doesn't want to latch onto its just absolute incoherent silliness and goofy dialogue, I can't say that this film was necessarily trying to be that way, because it really wants you to take seriously everything you're seeing on the screen, and unfortunately, the plot and all that is happening is just so far-fetched, it really makes this movie silly. And I feel like if they would have latched onto the silly campiness of what's going on and made this more of like a 90s throwback style thing, because this script really feels like it would have been floating around for the last 30 years, I think that this film would have landed a lot better. Tighten it up a little bit, just enhance and just embrace the silliness of this film, and you can have a really, really, really good time with it. Now, that being said, let's move into the positives. The acting in this movie is great because our two lead actors know exactly what this film is, even if the director and movie makers do not. Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman do outstanding jobs in their roles. Egerton plays the hero of this story, while Jason Bateman plays our villain, and both of them do great jobs. Egerton is so good at playing the everyday hero that you would find in the 90s, just that dude that's just working there trying trying to do his job, and he's not even necessarily doing the job the best that he can. I've noticed that with movies like this, your hero is basically three types of guys. You either have that young man who's just starting his life, who has no real direction just yet. You know, he finds out that his wife is pregnant and all of this stuff on Christmas Day, and boy, it's time for him to kind of buckle down and take things seriously now. Or then you get the burned out, haggard, 50-year-old, I've been down this road before kind of guy. So I guess there's maybe two. You get basically John McClane. You get the jaded agent who's been around for a long time. And I'll tell you what, Edgerton does an excellent job playing his part in this film and being that young, new guy on the block, I guess you could say, who didn't take his job too seriously, but now he's got to buckle down and start doing things the right way. Jason Bateman also plays a really great, charismatic, over-the-top, evil to the core type of villain who will do whatever it takes in order to succeed in his mission and plan that he's doing. And even though the dialogue is absolutely silly and goofy, both of our actors do a great job of delivering all of those silly, goofy lines in a very believable and fun manner. And to be perfectly honest, these two are really the main reason to actually watch this movie. So if you want my personal opinion, yes, this is a solid, fun, sit down, wrap some Christmas presents, drink some eggnog, maybe spike that eggnog a little bit, and you're gonna probably have yourself a pretty good little Christmas Eve sitting there getting stuff ready for the festivities the next day. Because at the end of the day, at least you're not those people that are traveling on Christmas Eve. Alright guys, well that's all I have for you today for a streaming film. It's not a halfway bad watch. If this would have been in theaters, yet again, like I say, probably wouldn't have liked this movie near as much, but it's on Netflix. It'll be just a time killer, and that's all. Thanks again for watching The Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.